Hello everybody and welcome to the Paper Crane Yarns Knitting Podcast. My name is Ashley and I am a yarn dyer and a yarn store owner, and I'm coming to you today from Paper Crane Yarns, which is the name of my yarn store, and we are located in Alabama, USA. You can find my whole store online at papercraneyarns.com, and you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Paper Crane Yarns, and everything I talk about today will be linked in the description box down below. As usual, I have plenty of projects to share with you today. I think it would be fair to say that this is definitely more of a comprehensive making podcast, but I do have plenty of knitting to share with you, a couple of finished objects and some new cast-ons. And I also have some cross-stitch projects to share. I have a finished sweater spin behind me here, and I have a little bit of sewing to share with you as well. Now, I know that most of you who are watching this video also follow me on Instagram, and so you are probably pretty aware of our current situation, and I will save talking about it until the very end in case you just want to see the projects I've been working on, but just very quickly, in case you haven't heard, my store was hit by a tornado a couple of weekends ago. So it's almost been 2 weeks. The day that we were wrapping up vending at Nash Yarn Fest, that evening, my store got hit by a tornado, as did many of the businesses and homes in my town. So again, I will save talking about that until the end. I've just not said much about it, and I'm receiving lots and lots of messages every day. So I just wanted to quickly mention that. And so yes, I'm okay. My family's okay. Our home is okay, and the business is going to be okay. So yeah, everything's okay. All right. So again, I have plenty to share with you, and just one quick other note. I am sick once again. This is the most I've ever been sick in my life. I feel like ever since October I've been sick every couple of weeks. So yes, I'm sick again. So if my voice sounds a little bit quiet, I do apologize. I don't have the air conditioner on, so hopefully you can hear me okay. So with that, let's jump into my knitting. So I'll go ahead and start with my finished objects. I have a couple of garments and some accessories to share with you. So we'll start with what I'm wearing currently. And so this one is a SAF, a start and finish, since my last episode. I casted this on right before I left for Nash Yarn Fest, and then I finished it right when I got back. So it was a pretty quick project. Of course, it's sleeveless, it's a vest. But yeah, I just loved this project so much. So this is the Alchemist Slipover by Woolen Pine Designs, and I actually bought this pattern when it first came out. It was a pattern that I had applied to be a tester for, and I didn't get into that test knit when they were in that process. But I knew that when the pattern was released, I was going to buy it and knit it as soon as possible. So it's been out for a little while now, but yeah, I finally got around to knitting it, and I'm so glad. So I'm gonna kind of stand up and show you. I have not taken finished object photos of this one yet, and usually I take photos before I podcast, but since I haven't been here at my store, again, I just haven't taken many photos. So hopefully I'll get some photos that I can also pop in of this one. But yeah, so let me try to stand up and show you. There are some construction workers outside working on our buildings right now, so this might be a little awkward for me. Hopefully I showed that okay. As you can see, it has these gorgeous tie sides. They are I-cords, nice and long, and then I did put on the tassels at the end. This was actually my first time making tassels, and I found a helpful YouTube video that actually talked about specifically attaching tassels to I-cords. It was very simple. So of Of course, I had to do it 4 times, but yeah, I love it. So, you know, tassels are optional. I thought they were really cute, so I went ahead and put mine on there. I knit size 3 of this pattern, and this is my 3rd time knitting Wool and Pine Designs pattern, and I think I've knit the size 3 each time, and each time, even though I'm getting gauge, my project is definitely a little bit too big for me, so I think next time I knit one of their designs, I'm going to go down to size 2, but, you know, I tend to base my patterns off of the full bust measurement. A lot of patterns are written that way, but I have a big difference between my full bust and my upper bust and my waist, so a lot of the time if I just pick a pattern based on my bust, it doesn't usually fit well at other places, so it is definitely more oversized than maybe I intended, but I actually think it's so cute, and I do have the ties tied as tight as they could go. Yes, I have the I-cords tied as they can go. That kind of helps to bring it in. I think part of it is also, so I haven't talked about the yarn yet. Part of it I think is my yarn choice. So this is a DK weight gauge pattern, and I did, again, I got gauge with the recommended needle size, but instead of using a single strand of a DK weight yarn, I held 2 yarns together. That was a merino cashmere nylon base and a Surrey alpaca silk base. So with these, I did get a DK weight yarn, but in my experience, especially this cashmere and then of course the lace weight yarn, it makes the whole project overall a little bit more drapey, and so not quite as structured as maybe just the single strand of DK would have been, and I think that kind of leans in a little bit to how, you know, a little bit more oversized it is. But yeah, no complaints here. I am very happy with it, and I'm already getting lots of wear out of it, so I think it's awesome. It's so soft, so soft, and the yarn, I'm a little I guess I'm a little rusty with everything that's been going on. So this was my Nash Yarn Fest show colorway. A little caveat though, these ones are definitely a little bit lighter than the rest of the skeins that I dyed and sold at the show. When I was dyeing up the colorway, I dyed up a bunch of superwash merino nylon sock, and then worsted weight and silk mohair, and I just dyed all the yarn that I had in stock at my shop. Anyway, when I was finished up, I knew I wanted a sweater quantity of some kind for myself, so I just used some leftover skeins that I had from like sample bases and other things that I had dyed. And so anyway, long story short, I also didn't have quite as much dye left of one of the dyes that I used, so I had to dye mine a little bit more faint. So yes, that's the caveat. Mine is a little bit paler for both of these than the rest of the skeins that I sold. So as I have told lots and lots of people, I will be dyeing this colorway again, and I'm not sure if it'll be in stock or a pre-order. As soon as I have more information, I will let you guys know. But yeah, so yours, if you order this, yours will be a little bit deeper, like the photos that I will have shared. So yeah, so I casted this on to knit at Nash Yarn Fest, and it kept me company the whole festival. It was knit in 2 pieces, so when I was done with like the shaping portion, it was really just knitting back and forth flat, so knitting and purling, and then the long log ribbing. So that was nice and easy to work on while I was vending when I had a little bit of downtime with my hands. And it is longer in the back and shorter in the front, so that's really cute. Of course, that's fully customizable, so yes, excellent pattern, very well written, and I do totally love the finished object. Plus it's very special because it makes me think of Nash Yarn Fest. And oh, the best part, I think, that I forgot to mention, the name of this colorway is You've Yeed Your Last Haw Partner. So when I was preparing for Nash Yarn Fest, I was dyeing up all of my yarn, and I knew I wanted to do a show colorway, but I didn't exactly have an inspiration for it. And then I came across a shirt on the internet that said You've Yeed Your Last Haw, and I decided I'm going to buy that and wear it for my Nash Yarn Fest outfit. And I dyed a colorway based on that phrase because I thought it was just so funny. So yes, that's the story of this yarn and this slipover. It's so cozy, and I'm very happy with it. So again, I have a few accessories to share with you, so I'll share those and then I will share my other garment. So I finished finally knitting my Better Together mittens, and I will have the name of the designer on the screen and link down below because I cannot recall it right now. So when I last shared this, I had one full mitten and then it just kind of sat for a while because I didn't want to knit the second. I just didn't feel like it. The reason being that, as you can see, there's this really pretty twisted rib for the cuff, but it sort of grades up the hand, so you're actually following a chart. So it wasn't just something where I could, you know, knit it without the chart. Yeah, you definitely could. I just wasn't in the headspace to work my head around it. So anyway, yes, I finally knit it. These are Knitting for Olive. These are Knitting for Olive, the merino and the silk mohair held double, and both mittens, this whole pair took less than one of each, less than one ball of each of those yarns. So definitely not a lot of yarn went into this project. I still have some of those left, and those are 50 and 25 gram skeins. So yeah, very lightweight project. Great if you just have a little bit of yarn maybe in your stash. My intention for this was I just had this vision of wearing these pea green, this is the pea shoot colorway, I think, this pea green mittens with like a trench coat in the winter time, of course, with maybe some other green accessories. And so I shared this one a while back. This was a cowl that I made with this yarn from Moonlit Yarns. It was called Lily of the Valley. And so I made a little set, an accessory set. So I've got this green cowl and these green mittens, and of course it's warm outside now, but if we have a chilly spring day, this will be a perfect color and a perfect little pair of accessories, and otherwise I will get to wear them next winter. It's always so nice when you get to see kind of like a knitting goal achieved, and as I mentioned, my goal was to create this matching set in this very specific color, and I know it's something I'll get a lot of use out of. So yeah, my intention for all of my knitting and making in general these days especially is to just really view the gaps in my wardrobe, since at this point I have so many knitted things, and to create more cohesive pieces that are going to be really functional. So I think part of that is the colors that you choose. So yes, excellent little set of finished objects. So I have another pair of mittens to share with you, but these belong to my daughter. So they are super tiny and so precious. I had been telling my daughter, Ara, she's 2.5, I had been telling her all winter that I would make her some duck mittens. I don't remember how it came to be, but at some point she and I started talking about duck mittens, and she was constantly reminding me that I told her I would make her some, so I finally did. So I picked a really cute, scrappy pink and green color palette. I love this color palette, and now I'm picturing a sweater for myself in these colors. So I just pulled some stash yarns, and I created the Doodle mittens from Jamie Lomax's Doodle directory book, her book. What's it called? Anyway, it's Jamie Lomax's book. So all of these charts came from there. So this is the one that I did first. It's the duck mitten, and the duck is a little bit low contrast because it's a pink duck with a sort of a mallard green head, and then we've got the yellow little feet and beak. And so yeah, that's really cute. And then there's a little pink and yellow chart there, and then I did some chartreuse and neon pink flowers there. And the main color is this undyed alpaca wool that I used in one of my husband's sweaters. So it's really, really pretty. I love just how soft it is, and it's got this gorgeous halo, but it's incredibly soft. So, and these are all DK weight. And then I did a little green mitten, and then we've got this light peachy pink color here in the cuff. So that was mitten number 1. And then for the second one, again, I did the same contrasting cuffs and thumbs and all that, but I did change up the charts. So I did this little, it's almost like a thistle. The mittens that I made for myself when I test knit for the book, I actually did the same flower, I think, or similar for my mittens. So we kind of have a matching element there. And then I did this light pink and hot pink combo that I love. And then here, they're kind of harder to tell, I think, but these are little ducklings. So yeah, we've got duck mittens all around. I just think they're so cute, and I did manage to get these done for her when it was still really cold outside, so she's gotten to wear them a handful of times, haha, which has been great, but they should still fit her next year for sure. She's got a little bit of room, and the nice thing about this is if they end up being a little bit snug, I can easily take out like the bind off, the grafting in the fingertips, or undo the thumb and just make them a little bit longer. So yeah, I think it turned out really great. And I just love this color palette. So this is a mixture of that alpaca farm yarn that I mentioned. The chartreuse is a Wool Dreamers yarn. And the hot pink is one of my hand-dyed yarns. And the green was a Treehouse Knits color. It was like a mystery skein. And then this was a Cascade. The light pink, I believe it's actually a sport weight. I used it in a shawl that I made myself last year. So there we go. Lots of green and pink here, my usual colors. And the next thing I'll share with you is one finished sock. So it's not blocked, but it is finished otherwise, and it's super cute. So this is a Summerly Designs pattern. It's from her Shorty Socks bundle, and it's just a really cute little ruffle sock. I have been wanting to make myself some ruffle socks for so long now, and so I finally managed to do it, and it took, maybe 2 days. I weighed this before I started recording, and it's only like 18 grams, so it was not a lot of yarn to go through. I have a size 7 to 7.5 foot, so yeah, not a lot of yarn, and this is what I have left. So I weighed this, and I have 24 grams, so I definitely have plenty to knit the second sock. I believe that, so this is a Knit Picks yarn. It's Stroll. I think it's Rosewood or Dogwood, Heather maybe. And this was sort of a little ball, a 50-gram ball that I had been slowly like taking bits of it here and there for different projects. So it wasn't even a full 50-gram ball to start out with. And still it's been more than enough for my 2 socks. So that's excellent with Shorty socks. I actually get a lot of questions in the shop if 100-gram skein is enough to knit socks. And I usually tell people that if you have a foot, maybe size similar to mine or even a little bit bigger, 100 grams is definitely more than enough, and you can probably get 2 pairs depending on how long you make the cuff. So yes, I did cast on the second one, so I was working on it, and then I realized here in the cuff that I had twisted it when I joined it in the round, so I didn't get very far. I just ripped it out, and I figured that I would restart it when I had a little bit of time to just work on something kind of simple. I really liked the way that the cuff was done. I always wondered how a ruffle cuff was done, and it was quite simple. So the only tricky thing is it's quite a few stitches in the beginning on your needle, and I do use 9-inch circulars when I make my socks generally, so it was very bunched up, and I think that's why I didn't realize that I had twisted it. But yeah, it's super easy the way that this is done, and I love that it's got the ribbing there, so it keeps it nice and tight. I have heard that hand knit ruffle socks can sometimes be a little slouchy and maybe not stay up on your ankle very well since you've got lots of excess up here, but this one seems to be doing great, and it's in my favorite color, so can't go wrong there. I think it would look super cute with my outfit today, actually, if only I had the second one done. So that brings me to my last finished knitting piece, and certainly last but not least, I love this one. I wore it to Nash Yarn Fest. I've shared pictures on Instagram, so there's a chance you've already seen it, but this is my Pressed Flowers cardigan. This is a pattern by Amy Christoffers, Savory Knitting, and it's definitely all over the knitting internet, so I'm sure that you have seen this many times. This pattern comes in many forms. There is a pullover, there's a shawl, there's a kerchief. I'm sure there's other things, but I did the cardigan. So my main color is Treehouse Knits on their sport weight base, and the colorway is Sea of Venus. I bought it, I think, in the end of 2023, perhaps. I pre-ordered it. I got 3 skeins because I think initially I was planning on making the Tessellated Pullover by Andrea Mowry with this yarn and then my Handspun. But I decided to save it, and then I think one day it just struck me that I could make this, and yeah, I was so happy. I knit this so fast because I love mosaic colorwork knitting, so I've already worn this so much that I think I'm going to have to wash it soon. But yeah, so the main skein is a sport weight Treehouse Knits, Sea of Venus, and then my contrast is my Handspun. So it was fiber from Yeed Chickadee. I think it's called Opalescent. It's like a pastel rainbow, absolutely gorgeous. It was a Corriedale. Some of the first handspun I ever made, and I made 2 skeins of it, and then it just kind of sat around until I could knit with it. I think that this is easily one of the most beautiful things I've ever made, and again, I've already gotten so much wear out of it, so I am so happy with this one. I feel like I match the quilt behind me so well. I just feel like this embodies everything that I love in knitting and in color. So yeah, a very satisfying project, especially using that handspun. And one of the best parts is my buttons. So again, this is the pressed flowers cardigan. My buttons are pressed flowers. And they are pink and green, and it's like they were made for this project. So I got those on Etsy, and I'll, again, make sure to link those below. But yeah, I can't say much else. I knit the size 2, and I think that I got a perfect fit with this one, so very satisfied with it. And I definitely plan on making another one. I have some more fiber in my stash that I think would be beautiful for some colors. For some colors for the flowers. When I spun up this yarn, because it was one of the first hand spuns I ever did on my wheel, I just spun it end to end. I did not do like a fractal spin or anything, and I feel like the colors turned out so beautifully anyway. Like, I got this gorgeous gradient even though I didn't do that. So yeah, totally happy with the way that worked out. So highly recommend this pattern. Again, it's that mosaic colorwork knitting, so you're only ever knitting with one color at a time. Sorry, I had to pause to cough and drink some water. But yeah, so you're only ever knitting with one color at a time, and I just love the way that this stitch pattern feels as it's passing through your hands. It just makes me so happy. So I also knit her poly cardigan over the winter, which was another mosaic project, and that's when I really fell in love with mosaic knitting. So now that this one is off the needles, I definitely want to get started on a new one because I just love, again, I just love that sensation with knitting. I just think it's lovely. So yeah, these colors make me think of some kind of like shimmering mermaid grotto, and that might be silly, but I think it's so special. Yeah, I just love it so much. So very happy with this one. So while we're on the topic of spinning, and I will get back to knitting because I have works in progress to show you, but I figured I would just go ahead and show you my finished sweater spin right behind me. So back in August of 2023, no, 2024, have I been saying that this whole time? No. So back in August of 2024, I purchased a sweater quantity of this gorgeous fiber from Walnut Designs, I think is what they are called on Etsy. And some of you will be very aware that I despised spinning this, but I knew that it was going to be so beautiful and so worth the effort. And I have to say, all in all, it was not as bad, once I got the hang of it. And I think it was just very daunting because I had like 1.5 pounds of fiber to spin up. And when I first started spinning it, it was quite difficult, if I'm honest, and that's because it is a baby alpaca and sari silk blend. I have spun alpaca before this, but it was like farm yarn alpaca, and so it was soft, and it was soft, but it was not difficult to draft. It was not difficult to spin. This stuff was soft as like a newborn kitten, but so hard to draft. Now the nice thing is it had a very long staple length, so it really didn't like come apart. It didn't break while I was spinning it. It was not hard to keep it going, but because of the combination of the really soft fibers and kind of that long staple length, and then the silk in there, which definitely drafted differently, like very differently from the alpaca, the drafting process was just kind of difficult. But once I got the hang of it, it was really no problem. So again, once I got the hang of it, I spun this up in almost no time. I had completed one skein pretty recently, like maybe a month or two ago. And then over the course of this past month or so, I finished spinning all the singles and then I plied them together. So without further ado, this is my 2-ply sweater spin of the alpaca silk yarn, and I think it is so pretty. It came out exactly as I expected. So it has this beautiful kind of main color of this pinky beige. And obviously, if you see these here, these are just my figure 8 ties that I haven't tucked all the way in because I still need to wet finish 3 of these skeins. But anyway, so it's got that pinky beige main color and then all of these gorgeous pops of blue silk, and there is lots of pink in there mostly, but then you've got some like emerald, some deeper blues and purples, and it's just stunning. So totally worth the whole process, and I'm very satisfied with it. It also really retained its softness. So there's definitely been times where I've spun fiber and it's more of a me thing, but you know, it's kind of a little bit coarse in the end, I would say a little bit more coarse, but this retained its softness. So this is going to be a very lovely and soft yarn. I do think that, I particularly love how you can see the colors here. There's like bits of that yellow in there, and I think that yellow is so pretty. Goodness, this is just so gorgeous. So what's kind of funny is I lost my train of thought, I'm sorry, but this is about 110 grams for this skein, and I feel like it looks kind of small. It's because it's so long. The way that the nitty naughty that I made, it's 2 yards, so it's a little bit long. So anyway, it looks kind of small compared to like this. So this was like the last skein that I made, I think, when I was just using up what was left, because I couldn't fit everything on my bobbin. I think this is the biggest skein. This one's about 200 grams. So comparatively, yeah, it's like double here. And then these are both around 170 grams or so. So yes, I have lots of yarn here. Now the yardage, I did calculate it. I think it's probably right. And again, I haven't wet finished, so it's going to fluctuate a little bit. But I'm going to say that this is like a heavy worsted to like an Aran weight yarn. I'm going to swatch with it to decide what sweater I will get to make. Initially, I was kind of thinking a pattern called Something Cozy by Shayna Billow because it seemed like a pattern that I could easily make with kind of any amount of yarn. It has a really large gauge because it's knit with I think a 10.5 size needle, US 10.5, and the gauge is really open because I think she used some more lightweight yarn. But I figured if I go down a needle size, I can, if I swatch and go down a couple of needle sizes, I can probably get that gauge and make that pattern pretty easily with what I have here. But I kind of don't know if it is a finished object that I want so much. So again, I'm just gonna have to do some swatching with these once I wet finish them to fully decide. But part of me really, really wants to make the Unbearable hoodie by Les Garçons, Max the Knitter. That is a sweater that I knit for my husband last year, I think, and his main color was a farm yarn that I bought, but it was an alpaca, and it also had sari silk mixed in. Now his was like a deep brown, like bear kind of color, so if I made that one, I would have to do an additional contrast color in the yoke for the bear's faces, and then make this the body and the sleeves, and I think it would be really, really pretty. So if I can get gauge with this yarn, that's what I would like to make. If I can't get gauge, I could always just try to get close and maybe knit the smallest size of the adult pattern. We'll see. So yeah, just stay tuned. I'm very happy this is my first full sweater spin, and again, I think it just turned out exactly how I had hoped. So, you know, that's always a very good feeling, especially with this being kind of a long-term project. So that is that. Very exciting. Okay, and back to knitting. So I will show you now my works in progress. So first I have in this bag from Rose in the Wren my Zoria pullover, which I cannot for the life of me remember if I shared this in my last episode or not. I think I did, but I don't know. But this is a pattern by Marcena Kovaček, and it is so gorgeous. I have had the yarn for this in my stash now for about a year, and I purchased it knowing I was going to knit this, and I just finally am. So this is the back here. It is the most gorgeous lace pattern. I just cannot get over how stunning this is. It's so pretty. I personally am a big fan of baubles. I hear people say all the time that they definitely don't like them, but I adore them. I think they are so pretty, and I love the textural element that they add, especially here, complemented by the highly textured twisted rib, and then of course the cables and the lace. This is just such a genius design in my opinion. So here's the front. I am knitting the pullover version, but she does give you instructions in the pattern for how to make it an open cardigan if you would like. And I will say the pull to just make this a cardigan has been very strong. I guess I have felt pretty certain that I'm making the pullover, but since I haven't joined yet, I don't know. I might do the cardigan. I think the pullover would be so cute, but I wear my cardigans all the time, so I don't know, maybe I should just do the cardigan. I'm gonna keep thinking on that. I worked on this a whole lot, and then I stuck it in my bag when I went to Nash Yarn Fest, and I haven't taken it out since, so I have time to decide. But this is the Knitting for Olive. This is the heavy merino, which is like a DK worsted weight yarn. And I believe that this is the marzipan. Excuse me, my nose is causing problems with my talking. I'll have to put the name of the colorway on the screen because I don't have a ball of it here with me. But it is a very gorgeous pattern, and just like all of her patterns, the construction is really fun. So you actually cast on, like a provisional cast on the back of the neck here, and you kind of knit in one direction and then you knit in another direction, and I think I might have taken a picture, but you end up with this really interesting shape where it's just this like rib neck band and a shoulder portion here and a shoulder portion here and nothing in the middle. And I remember showing my friends at knitting group and you know, reassuring them that it was going there would be some fabric in there at some point. So after you have those lace portions started out, you do go through and you end up picking up here on the neckline and along these sections to pick up those shoulders basically, and then you start this big twisted rib panel down the back, and yeah, so then it's the twisted rib in the front. So I just think it's stunning. I think this will go perfectly in my wardrobe. I think I'm knitting the size 2, and I'm pretty sure that I have that on my Ravelry page. Something that I should definitely commend Marcena for is, at least for all of the patterns that I have looked through, purchased, or knit, she gives individual files for each of the sizes of the pattern. So not only is she a size inclusive designer, but all of the different sizes for the PDFs, all the different sizes for the patterns have their own PDF. So you are not having to fight with those different numbers. There's nowhere to get confused about what size you're knitting or what stitch count you're supposed to be looking at. You know, we've all done that thing where you highlight all of the stitch counts that you should be working on, and somehow you missed one, and then you do the wrong one, and yeah. So that is amazing. I highly recommend her designs, but especially for just that extra element that she adds. I think it's awesome. So that is my Zoria pullover or cardigan. We shall see. My next work in progress is in this Knitting Nelly bag, and so cute. This has been a very fun project. It is a test knit for Katrin Seeberger. She is very well known for her heirloom quilt cardigan, which I finished and shared earlier this year. I'm doing a test knit for her new hat design. This is the Ambler hat, and it's so beautiful. So it also employs that sawtooth star colorwork motif, but this one, unlike the cardigan, is just knit in the round, stranded colorwork, no seaming or anything like that, really. It's just so beautiful. So I remember the day that we were driving to Nashville was the day that I got the email that I was accepted for the test knit, and I remember I was so excited. I just kept, obviously I was so overwhelmed with Nash Yarn Fest that I knew I wasn't going to be getting started on this project until I got home. But then with the tornado and all the aftermath, and I've just been struggling with my mental health pretty badly ever since. I just could not bring myself to cast it on. But finally, a couple days ago, I did, and I've just been knitting away. So I should meet the deadline. I need to double check that deadline, but I think I still have a week or two to finish it. And this is like 3 days worth of work. So anyway, I should be fine. This pattern will be out in a couple of weeks, so keep a lookout for that. But to talk a little bit about it, I'm using 2 different colors. They are fingering weight yarn, and I thought I would kind of mix it up a little bit. My intention was initially to do this lavender and honey color, but I have been thinking about this lavender and burgundy color combination for a long time. I was kind of planning on doing a more vibrant version of each of these, but I decided to just go with something that I already had caked up rather than caking up a new skein of yarn. And so this was Stash, which was great. This is my hand-dyed yarn. It's my Love Letter colorway, which is sort of my more pale lavender. And I also have a deep lavender called Electric Orchid, so I was planning on using that. But anyway, again, I didn't want to take it from the shop if I already had this. I'm glad I went with this. And then this one, this is a yarn that I carry in the shop, and I wanted to try it out because I had a feeling I would adore it, and I do. It is this fingering weight Jamieson's Shetland Spindrift. So this is one of the colors that I carry, and it is the colorway Ruby. So it has this heathering, and of course dog hair. So this maroon burgundy is a little bit deeper than I kind of was intending on going, but I'm actually really pleased with the way that this is knitting up. So this pattern has been very fun to knit, a very fun construction, very unique, I would say, just so interesting. So you actually start out by knitting a panel in stockinette in your main color. So you're using like a smaller needle size, and you do stockinette for so many rows or rounds, and then you switch your needle size and you start the colorwork chart. And so you actually knit quite a bit of a colorwork panel, and then you actually turn it, and then I don't want to give too much away about the pattern, but you do end up creating this sort of self enclosed double layer of fabric brim. So you are doing like you are closing off the brim, we'll say. And then you do like a short row, and you start knitting in the other direction. So suddenly what was your right side is going to be your wrong side. You can see now where I have started knitting, and so we've got the wrong side of the fabric up here on top of the right side of the fabric. And so this is how I'm knitting it now. This is what it looks like when I'm looking at it. And you can see here where the right side of the fabric is starting to come up. So the whole point of this is that this will be a folded up brim. That way you have those nice layers of fabric, and you've got your colorwork chart in there, but it's really pretty. It's got that really nice finished edge, and then that'll sit on top of the hat. Yeah, you know how a hat works. I'm very excited about it. I think it's turning out beautifully. It's been really nice and easy to keep my tension looking good with these yarns, and I've just been very mindful about my tension as I'm knitting this, because it's a test knit, but also because I just really want this to work out. I wear a lot of berets, but I don't often wear other hats because it's like this self-image thing where I think that hats like this look weird on me, and I'm just trying to get over that. So I think if I have a really cute hat like this one, then I won't really care if I look strange. I will just be happy to be wearing the hat. So yeah, so that's that. Really enjoying this one. It's very, very fun, especially since I really want to be quilting right now, but I cannot really access my sewing machine because of the chaos in the shop. So that's a fun little knitting version. So that is all of the knitting and yarn stuff, but I do still have plenty to share with you if you are interested in cross stitch. I actually have 2 finished pieces right behind me. And then I have some works in progress that I have I've either put some work into or new starts since I last shared. So if you'd like to see some cross stitch, I will go ahead and do that now. But if you would like to skip ahead to seeing the little bit of yarn that I bought at Nash Yarn Fest, or hearing about like the tornado update and that kind of thing, I'll put a timestamp on the screen right now where you can skip ahead past the cross stitch if you so choose. But I hope you'll stick around because cross stitch is really cool. So let's start with my 2 finished pieces. So I have one FFO, a fully finished object, and I have one finished object that I thought I would have framed by now, but my frame is not here yet, so I will share that one more time when the frame is done. So let's start with my FFO. So this is a tiny modernist pattern, and it is called Always Time for Tea. This was the Cross Stitch the Rainbow or X Stitch the Rainbow collaboration from 2024. It's basically just a big thing where a whole bunch of designers decide to create a pattern based on the theme, and this one was tea, and some floss designer or dyer will create like a limited color palette that the designers will use. So we have these 4 different colors: pink, red, green, and like a silvery white. And this is what Tiny Modernist came up with, and it is so, so amazing. And so this is all actually silk, so it was very lovely to stitch with. And I stitched it on a 30 count linen from Weeks Dye Works. The linen is called Grasshopper. It's a beautiful chartreuse. And then you can see those gorgeous silk flosses in there. So yeah, I'm obviously trying really hard not to get that glare. That would be, okay, look better over here. I do think I have some photos of this, so I will try to include those as well. But it's just really cute. I think all the back stitching really helped to definitely emphasize the design. And yeah, I started this back in October, so those of you who were watching for Vlogtober, I think you probably saw me start this. And it was a very quick stitch. I just didn't feel like stitching it, I guess. And then one day I just realized, you know, I should just finish that. That would feel nice, and it's perfect for spring. So it's actually been here decorating my shop. I carry teas here in my store, so I've had this displayed with my little tea department. So I did frame this myself. This was a frame that I can't remember now if I got this at a craft store or if I got it online, but it does not have any fancy glass, so it's definitely not avoiding the glare. I think it's definitely a little bit closer to this side than it is that side, but I don't care. So yeah, that was a really lovely project, and I think it's so cute. And then this very exciting finish. I feel like this video is definitely full of very exciting finishes. This was my Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery stitch along for 2024 and 2025. This started back in May, I think, of 2024, and we had 11 clues. So for almost a year, I've been working on this gorgeous project. I've definitely shared this many times, I guess probably over the last 11 months, but it was a sort of a mystery stitch along. So we knew the theme and we kind of knew some details about it when we signed up, but we didn't know what the pattern would look like. So we got little chunks every month. So we started here with the vole and the Arctic fox. That was the first clue. And then I think we went to the walrus. And then I think we went over here to the caribou, puffins, Arctic hare. And then we did this whole spot up here. And you can see there's constellations, there's the northern lights. We've got these cute little houses, some glaciers. And then we came down here and we started, I think we started here with the harp seal, which I have a little mistake with my back stitching. So he's got really cute, like, kawaii face. His whiskers are supposed to be gray, so not quite as visible, but he definitely looks like he's just so cute. So then we get to the polar bear, and then we finished it off with animals with the narwhal, which is exciting. And then the very last clue was this border here that says Arctic animals in the most adorable font. So I am so pleased with this. I think it is gorgeous. I'm very happy to have stitched this, and I can't wait to frame it. So I did order from Art to Frame a custom frame, and this one's taking a little bit longer than the last one that I ordered. The last one came really fast, so this one says it still has maybe 2 weeks before it gets here, so that's fine. So I'll share it one more time once I framed it, but I did upgrade the glass again. Framing can be very expensive. I have yet to do like a professional frame, but I have now purchased 2 custom frames, and both times I've gotten the nice like anti-glare glass. And so I did that for my coffee and eggs, which I shared probably last time, and it was definitely worth it. It's very nice. It really is very anti-glare, and I feel like it really enhanced the overall look. So it's not much more, so I did decide to get that for this. So I'll have kind of an off-white frame coming, and I'll have that glass, and I just can't wait to frame it. So there we go. I don't know if I will be doing the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery again this year. I'm kind of waiting to see what the theme will be. All they have said so far is that it will be animals, and I would love to do some more animals. And I think they said that these animals will be wearing clothes. I could be wrong. I may just be imagining that, or, you know, wishful thinking. So I might not be able to resist. But the reason why I'm thinking about not doing it is Lola Crow, who does some of the most amazing cross-stitch patterns, and specifically stitch-alongs, like mystery stitch-alongs, she announced her Extraordinary Birds stitch-along, and I actually won a copy of that pattern for free. So I was already definitely considering signing up this year after seeing Deadly Aquarium and then, you know, Greenhouse of Oddities before I was even stitching. Yeah, some of the best stuff. And then I saw it was bird themed, and I was like, well, I have to do it. And then I won a copy of the pattern for free, so then I have to do it. So I did kit that up. I'm waiting for my fabric to get here, and I think in about a week we'll actually get the frame release. So then I think we have like 6 weeks to stitch the frame, and then I think we'll get weekly clues after that, something like that, to stitch in all of the birds. So yeah, I'm very excited, and we'll see how that goes. Depending on the finishing timeline for that, I have to double check that. I don't remember what day that finishes. But anyway, I may be able to manage this, the new Frosted Pumpkin and the Extraordinary Birds, but we'll see. I don't want to overexert myself with keeping up with a timeline, because I was very proud of myself. I did keep up with this one the whole year. I think there was 1 month where I fell a little bit behind, and then I caught up. I don't want to feel that like pressure that we put on ourselves to keep up with sort of an arbitrary goal. But I do like to, I don't know, anyway, you get what I'm saying. So we'll see how it goes. It'll depend on the theme and how confident I feel about the progress for the Lola Crow, because I think by the time Frosted Pumpkin makes an announcement about what the new pattern will be, I think we'll have already started on Lola Crow. So yeah, we'll see. Very happy I did that though. Okay, I have some cross stitch whips to share with you. Okay, I've got to decide what to share first. I do have some new starts, and I think I have a little progress on some other projects that you've seen. I guess we'll start very simply with a project that I have shared before. I put in just a tiny bit of work on this since I last shared it. I kind of don't even want to take it out of the frame because I want to keep going with this, so I'm sorry. I just wanted to share that for my, this is the Merry Autumn Pin Keep pattern, and I started this in the fall. So I've already done like this portion, that's what's kind of hidden by the nerd hoop here. But I have that done. I've got some of the border. I have my little gothic chicken lady done. I have my chickens. And I most recently finished this house, which I despised stitching. I had zero fun stitching this house. It was just so, there was so much fill in. It's just so rectangular. I didn't like the colors, but I knew that I would like it when it was done. And I do, and I'm glad I did it. I always think I think I knew when I picked this pattern that this would not be fun to stitch. So it took me a while, but I did it. So there we go. And I've started on the white pumpkin. So I'm excited to return to this project. It is definitely the season of chickens for me. I mean, it always kind of is, but we just got 12 new babies. So yeah, it's been kind of fun. I feel like this is me, and this is me in the morning when I go and feed my little baby chickens and when I hang out with them. So yeah, this is on a 36 count bramble linen by Picture This Plus, and I'm doing 1/2 with all of the called for fancy flosses. So there's honestly not too much left. There's not too much left to do on here. Pretty much just finished the foliage up above the house, and then that little bit of frame left, and then there's this bottom border. But I'll be doing a frame finish. So yeah, I'm excited. I think it's beautiful. If I did this as a focus piece, I could probably get this done pretty fast. So I may do that. We'll see. So that's that one. The next one I will share is actually a new start, although I started this back in the middle of February, I think, and I stitched it for like 2 days, and I haven't worked on it since, I believe, because, again, Nash Yarn Fest and finishing this guy. But this is called Lover's Promenade, or Promenade, and this is by Sprouting Lupine, that's how she says it. And this was a free pattern, which is fun. So I am stitching this on some Aida that I had in my stash. I think it's a 16 count. It might be a 14 count. It's really pretty, like a soft variegated springy green. And I've got this gorgeous little mantis here. And then we have some fuchsia flowers. And there's going to be, this is lavender. There's going to be more lavender. Excuse me. I can't remember all of the plants that will be on there, but I think it's so beautiful. And I love this very fun color palette. Her designs are my favorite, and yet I've not finished my unicorn that I want the most. I need to make that my focus project. But yeah, so I figured just having this nice little small would be fun to work on. And again, I think this was like 2 days worth of progress, so maybe I should make this my focus piece and get it done, because it's not going to be much bigger than this. In fact, I think this is the top. Pretty sure. I haven't looked at this pattern in a while, and it's a PDF, so I can't show it to you, but I will hopefully have put a picture on the screen. But yeah. There's that one. That would be a lovely spring finish, so I should probably work on that. And the next, I think this is the last one to share that I have stitched on, and this is a market start. So it was just the Nashville Needlework Market. I went to market last year. That was when I first got into cross stitch and started bringing supplies into my shop. I didn't go this year because I had Nash Yarn Fest, so it wasn't going to work out to do both. So I did order a few charts from some other stores, and this one I love so much in theory. This is called Ducks in the Orchard. Uh-oh, should have organized this better. If this isn't very visible, I'll put in a picture, but I think you can see this. So it's got this gorgeous brick house with this amazing lattice work. There it goes. And of course the stars of the show, those ducks and their ducklings. And then you've got this really fabulous border that's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be very pretty. So yeah, what can I say? It's ducks, it's very cottagey. I just had to do it. This is the color palette. I feel like this is very much not me, but I am trusting the process. So in the sample, they used a darker brown fabric, and myself and others that I have heard, I think we kind of all thought that this might look better on a lighter fabric. So I picked a lighter fabric, but I have to say, I think that color palette, I probably would have liked it more on that darker palette that would have a little bit more of those pinky brown tones, because I kind of thought that this would have a pink look to it, and there's zero pink in this project at all. So yeah, that's okay. So I am in the middle of the house. I've almost finished, you know, half of this side, and I still have to do this and then the roof. But this is a lot of stitching. It's taken quite a few days, but I haven't worked on it in the past week. The other thing that's tricky about this for me is this door is it's supposed to be two different colors. I mean, it's two different flosses, but there's supposed to be some like paneling details here, and you cannot see it at all. So my two skeins, even though they're obviously different colorways, they were very, very similar, I think. So I kind of wish that I would have maybe picked a different color and just done that framing, but it's okay. I know that once I add in the lattice work, I will like this house better. I just don't really like a red brick house, I guess. So I think if I were to have changed anything about this, I wish I would have changed the color of the house. Now that's me saying that without all of the other details in it. And there have been other cross stitch projects where I've thought like, maybe I don't love this, but then when you bring in the other elements, it really lifts those colors and complements them. And so I know that I will end up loving this. And the more that I have added to it, the more I have started to love it. So it's gonna be good. This fabric is this is Fiber on a Whim. It's a 28 count Milk and Honey. And I remember when I received this in person, I was confused with myself. Like, why did I buy a 28 count when I meant to do like a 36 count? I don't remember what my thought process was, but that's okay. I'll just have a nice big scene. So yes, that's my ducks in the orchard. That probably all sounded very negative, but I do actually have really good feelings about this project, and I know I'm going to love it. So I am excited that I'm working on this one, and I look forward to returning to it. I'm also stitching it with the paper pattern, and I prefer PDF usually, but this one is printed in color, so I'm enjoying it a lot. Okay, so things probably look a little different. Fortunately, some of the people who are doing repairs on this whole complex, they just came by to talk to me about repairing part of my building on Saturday, so yay, I can't wait. I hope that all goes well. Okay, so I was about to talk about the other patterns that I picked up from Market this year, and I just got 3 others, so 4 in total. Oh, and now I have a text message. So the other 3 that I picked out, and now I have to sneeze. This is not going well. I did get the Hands-On Designs Ladybug. I think we pretty much all got this. There was an Autumn Bee one last year. I think that's what it was called, and I didn't do that one. But this one, the color palette, and just, yeah, I just loved it. So I got the bee at the Ladybug, and I will definitely be stitching this pretty soon. I picked out this pink fabric to stitch it on. This is Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers Strawberry Frappe. This is a 32 count Lugana, and there's definitely more in this cut than I will need, so I'll have leftovers to do some other stuff. I was going to try to get this new fabric. It's like pomegranate, but it was sold out, and I just decided I'll just go ahead and get this one. I wish this was linen instead of the Lugana, but it is really beautiful, and there's modeling in there that's really pretty. So definitely looking forward to this project. I have all the flosses. This will be a pretty quick project too, so definitely be doing this one soon, hopefully sometime this spring. I also got Plum Street Samplers Gathered Hearts, and it's kind of funny because I was debating so much which patterns I would pick. I didn't want to get a bunch of really big patterns, even though those were the ones that were speaking to me, but I didn't want to have a bunch of big patterns that I knew I wouldn't stitch anytime soon. So I got this one, which I feel like is maybe a little bit smaller, 98 by 170, so, you know, kind of a medium pattern. But what sold me on it was I do very much love the color palette, but I also just this right here. So that pink and green color palette, the little people, the tiny row of buildings, just, it's so pretty. So, but when it showed up to my house, I was like, oh, I don't remember actually buying that one, but I guess I did. So that will be fun. And then the one I'm most excited about is this Plum Street Samplers. This is the Tomato Sampler. It looks very much like the Stacey Nash Merry Autumn Pin Keep that I'm doing, but this lady is watering her giant tomato plant next to her very tall house that she couldn't even fit her dress inside of. And then of course we have all of these really beautiful vines and tomatoes, and just, it's so pretty. So I will be stitching that on this 36 count affogato linen from Fiber on a Whim. And I think I have all of those flosses ready to go as well. And then the last cross stitch that I'm excited to start, that was not a market start, but it is one that I'm extremely excited about. And I'm realizing now that I forgot to look up how to pronounce this. It is French. It is Le Poulet, or Le, I'm sure it's Le Poulet. I'm probably not saying that very well. My expertise is Spanish in terms of secondary language. So, but I do know that means chicken. So it's Le Poulet Pinkeep. Yep, and it is the cutest little chicken wearing a party hat, and there's a pinwheel and a little coop. So gorgeous. So I have to do that one. And then quickly, I did purchase two things at Nash Yarn Fest. So, and I should say, all of this stuff I purchased before the tornado happened. Yeah. Anyway, I got this. I thought you'd be able to see it in the whole video, but I realized that it's been out of frame. So I wore it to kind of celebrate Nash Yarn Fest, but anyway. This is a pin that says Howdy, and this is from, this was Channy P's Corner. Channy, she owns, I guess she owns a little yarn store in Georgia, but she does lots of these amazing pins, and this was her show pin, and it's a cowboy boot, and it said Howdy, so of course I had to get it. It definitely helped that she was the booth right next to mine, because at no point was I able to walk around and shop, so it was great because I saw this on her Instagram, I knew I wanted it, and I was able to get it. I snuck away for a minute and purchased it. So got that, and that's exciting. And then I also got a vest or sweater quantity of yarn. So the other booth that was right by me, and they were right across from me actually, was the Modern Daily Knitter booth. And if you did not know, Modern Daily Knitter, they are the ones who organized Nash Yarn Fest, so it was kind of cool to be right next to their booth, I guess. Oh, I have my vendor pin in there. So the whole time that I was standing there in my booth and I was selling yarn to people, I just could not stop looking at this yarn, and it was, you know, right across from me, and so eventually I snuck over and I got some. So this is a gorgeous yarn. The colorway is what got me first. I don't know if it's coming up accurately on the screen, but I think so. So yeah, this and pink, totally my favorite colors. This one is called, it's shade 3904 or Cameo, and it is definitely a beautiful dusty sea green, and it's gorgeous. And this is a 75% Falkland, 25% Massam yarn, and so it's got this gorgeous hand. It's just beautiful. It looks like a 2-ply. Yeah, just so gorgeous. So these are 50-gram skeins, and so I got 7 so I could have 350. And when I bought it, my intention was I'm going to make another Violetta cardigan, which was a project that I shared in my last video, I think. I love that one so much, and I was wanting to make a second one in a sagey color like this. But my other thought is I might make the Rosenlind top by Sari Nordlind. That it's like a sleeveless vest, and I've been wanting to knit it for a long time now, so this will become one or two of those things. But this is the Jane base. I failed to mention that. That's my yarn purchase from Nash Yarn Fest. Very exciting. So that's all the crafty stuff that I have to share with you. I did forget to talk about my sewing project. So yeah, just briefly, I made a second pair of the bow boxer shorts by Matchy Matchy Sewing Club. I'm actually wearing them today, and I think they're really cute with my little vest. I don't know if I'll be able to stand up and show you. I'll try to insert a photo. I like the fabric. It's a Fabulism fabric, and yeah. Okay, so just very quickly, a little bit of life stuff. As I have said, and as many of you know, my shop was hit by a tornado a couple weekends ago, and it was such a, it's just felt so impossible in every way. You know, it's, on the one hand, I feel like I came out so fortunate with the damage that I received, which sounds like a silly sentence, but you know, where my shop is, there's 5 units technically, and I own 2 of them. You know, last year we broke down like the wall, or year before that actually, we cut down this wall and we combined 2 units. And then on the other sides of me, because I'm in the middle, is the daycare. So they have it's split up. Anyway, I'm the second from the end over here, and that daycare unit right there pretty much got wiped out. So I feel like compared to them, I cannot complain because most of my damage appears to be cosmetic. I think we're kind of still waiting to hear back from like the building engineer who's come out to decide about our roof situation, because the roof got pretty much totally destroyed over here. And it's interesting because from the outside of the building, you can see some of the damage, and I feel like it doesn't look that bad. But when they sent a drone over the top of the building, there were these 2 big impact points where, you know, we had all the damage from the tornado itself, but then there's damage from this, whatever this massive debris is that came on top of the building. Yeah, that's what like ruined that side. And then me, it's like I got just a bit of that over here in the corner. So all of my glass totally shattered. So the morning after the storm, we were still in Nashville. I had received very, very early in the morning confirmation that my store had been hit by the tornado. I went to sleep thinking that that might be true because I read online that 14th Street, which is where my shop is located, I read that my street got hit, and so I just figured, you know, the street's not very long. That's the city confirmed that there had been lots of damage, and that was it. So I figured that was me, and I managed to go to sleep. I told myself, you know, I'm a couple hours away. There's nothing I can do about it, so let's just go to sleep. And if the shop is standing in the morning, it is, and if it isn't, it isn't. Obviously, I was not that blasé about it at the time. It was hard. It was hard. Still hard, but I've come to terms with it a little bit. So the next morning, you know, I was receiving all kinds of messages from people basically just telling me like that my shop had been hit. So I didn't know what it looked like right away. And then fortunately, a couple of hours in, my family members came to the shop, some friends came to the shop just to see what it looked like since I wasn't in town. They sent me some pictures, so I kind of was able to wrap my head around it. Apparently the news showed my shop, which I didn't really appreciate for a couple of reasons. But yeah, so my shop was all over the news, and it was just so crazy because it was all happening so fast, and I felt so far away. So it was this very helpless feeling. But fortunately, again, I had family members here who were taking care of it. One of my glass doors was completely blown out. So all night, you know, it was just this big hole into my building. And that really scared me when I found that out because, you know, I'm worried about people, I'm worried about animals, I'm worried about the rain, just all the things that could have come into the shop, any potential further damage that could have happened as a result. And I am so fortunate to say that nothing happened after that glass was blown out. You know, it was like the tornado just came, hit the building, and went along on its terrible way. So it took out that glass. It shattered all the rest of the glass. So my other door that's right over here, it's shattered completely, but it did not come out. And same goes for most of my windows. It's weird. It's like I'm looking at them and they are completely shattered, but they are still in place. So they are going to have to be removed and then replaced. So all of the doors and windows along the whole building are going to be replaced. Most of the doors along this whole street were glass and they were all shattered. So it wasn't just us, lots of places. And then right down the street from me, like on my street, just further down, people lost their entire homes. And it's just so crazy. I took my dog. So yeah, I haven't wanted to like share pictures of the damage because it's almost like a vulnerability that I'm not willing to express, I guess. There's many avenues of myself and of my life that I'm willing to be vulnerable about, but this has been a really hard one. And I think it's mostly because this business, I built it from scratch over just the past few years. You know, I have often said basically how proud I am of the fact that we did this out of pocket. this business, you know, every bit of money I've made has gone right back into it, and I've just been, you know, trying my best to just build it up and build it up. And I mean, when we've needed things done to the building, my husband and I have done them, and it was just like seeing my actual life's work just attacked by something that there was nobody could have any control over. It's so crazy. So on the one hand, you know, I am a very optimistic person these days, and I love to see the silver linings, but a little part of me is like, I just want to also be allowed to be a little bit mad that this happened. One very, very happy thing is that none of my inventory got destroyed. So the side of the building that would have taken the most amount of damage in terms of my inventory goes, that's all the stuff that I had packed up and taken to Nashville. So I got very lucky, whatever you want to call it, that I had taken that stuff to Nashville. So that really worked out, you know. And then over here on this side where the damage, because all the damage happened really to the front of the building, somehow, even though parts of the roof fell in on my stuff, none of my stuff got broken. I mean, there are candles sitting right there, and they are totally fine. And that just boggles my mind. So yeah, none of my inventory got destroyed or messed up. None of the yarn even got wet, even though it was raining and my glass was gone. So yeah, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. And I'm just thankful that it's like repairs are happening. My door got replaced very quickly. The person who just came in here to speak with me is going to be working on my ceiling, and that's about where we're at right now. But I actually think that once the ceiling gets done, which will be this weekend, I can just probably go ahead and reopen. So the daycare next to me over here in these other units, they are working right now to reopen on Monday, which is awesome because they have lots of parents and kids who rely on them. They have employees who need paychecks. So that to me, definitely number one priority, get the daycare done for sure. And then they'll be moving over here to start working on some more of my repairs. And then I think we can reopen. Once they get the ceiling done, there are some other structural issues, but nothing that is going to bar me from having people here. It's just going to look a little ugly for a while. But yeah, so I think it's gonna be okay. That's my positive news. I'm glad that I came here today, because otherwise I don't think I would have known that, and I would have continued on feeling sorry for myself. I have pretty much just kind of gone a little bit quiet these past 2 weeks. I just other than orders that have come in, and thank you so much to those who have placed orders or sent me nice, I mean, I haven't even touched on this yet. I'm just so overwhelmed. Literally hundreds and hundreds of people have reached out to me with emails and messages and just all kinds of stuff, just to tell me that they're thinking of me, and just, yeah, definitely making this much more manageable and a lot brighter than it feels. But that said, I have kind of gone a little bit quiet these past couple of weeks because it's been like this overwhelming sadness and frustration that I was working so hard, and I felt like the business was really starting to reach this point of like being everything that I want and need it to be. And I know that it's not going anywhere, but it just felt like this big, I don't know. There's no words that can really describe it. It just is what it is. It's going to be okay. Here I am. I can't help but do the silver linings thing. I have gotten a little bit more time with my daughter to go out and do things that we don't normally get to do. So that's been really great. And, you know, I've gotten to spend a little bit more time at home, which means that I've been able to tackle some like projects at the house that have needed to be completed. So that's good. So yeah, there's always silver linings. I can't guarantee this, but my goal would be to reopen by local yarn store day. So that is going to be at the end of April, and we might even get to reopen sooner than that. We'll see. But originally I thought that wouldn't even happen, so yay for that. If we do open by local yarn store day, that will mean that we've been closed for like a month and a half, which is a crazy long amount of time, but not as bad as I expected. So that's good. So hopefully I'll see some of you guys for local yarn store day in April. I will be sure to share more about that. Anyway, in the meantime, if you would like to make a purchase through our website, that would be amazing. I've had lots of people kind of asking me how they can help, and I just wanted to let you guys know I don't need anything. So yeah, there's really not words that can just wrap up this whole thing, but basically, I'm just gonna sum it up, probably have to cut out most of that, and just say thank you so much to those who have reached out with so much care, and just those of you who have been checking in on me. And I know that for the most part, I have not really been responding to messages. It has been this like mental health thing where it's not even an intentional decision. It's just this severe avoidant behavior that I'm trying really hard to break. But it's like this urge to flee and to run away and to not face what's going on. But now that things are getting a little bit better, it should get a little easier. So thank you to those who have been reaching out. And it's amazing how many have really expressed their true friendship with me, like those in person and some of you online. It's just been wonderful to feel supported in that way. So thank you. And thank you to those who have placed orders and just all of that. So I will keep you guys updated, but in the meantime, I'm going to continue to craft, and I look forward to that. And I will talk to you guys really soon, I hope. Yep. All right, well, take care, and happy spring. Best time of the year. Yeah. Bye. Oh, okay. Good job. Gentle, okay?
I want a snake. That's my bear one. Oh, dear baby. Oh,
That is a little baby.
baby.